Thank you for watching WISD TV. Welcome to the library at J.H. Hines Elementary School and another edition of Know Your Schools. My name is Dale Caffey. I have a very special guest today. His name is Rodney Page, and he is not an employee of the Waco ISD. In fact, he is retired now, but was a longtime teacher in the Round Rock Independent School District at McNeil High School. And he's our special guest today because at McNeil High School, Mr. Page started a Brotherhood mentoring group, and he is here to share some of his experiences and ideas with some teachers here at J.H. Hines Elementary School. Welcome, Mr. Page, and thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of the mentoring group you started called Brotherhood Mentoring Group at Round Rock ISD, and I believe at McNeil High School.
At McNeil High School. The Brotherhood Mentoring Group was initiated in 2001. It came out of my personal frustration with the system, you might say, having been in education for many years. At that point, I was in about my 28th year of teaching and coaching, so I had seen a lot of things. So over my many years, being in so many faculty meetings, staff developments, and always near the end of a meeting, the test scores go up for Black and Brown, African American and Hispanic. And being a man of color, it was personal to me. And there's one or two things you can do. You can complain about something that frustrates you and concerns you, or you can do something about it and be part of the solution. For me, it was about being a part of the solution. It was a humble attempt to address directly what I knew to be going on in the lives of many of the young men of color, because that's the journey I have made in my life. So it's personal. I was born and raised in the Deep South. I'm a product of segregation. So I had to break through a lot of consciousness and thinking in order to be successful. So the mentoring group was initiated in 2001. From the beginning, it's always been about building, empowering, and inspiring the young men for greater personal development and academic achievement. We have a motto: mark for good, no excuses. I have a wristband on, okay? Mark for good, no excuses. That's a statement of self-worth, about the dignity and worth of the individual, and helping them realize they mark for good, no matter what, no matter who they are, color, socioeconomics, they mark for good. But the accountability piece is they can't reach that good by making excuses. So no matter what shows up, we move forward. We do not make excuses. We excel in spite of. The major form of action is conversations, strategies, insights for successful living. When I say building, empowering, inspiring, what I'm speaking about is we're not building buildings. We're building people, young lives from the inside out. Empowering them with skills and strategies, not power over others, power within self.
Right.
To define, manage, and direct one's own life, and to inspire them, to light a fire within them so that they might aspire for more for themselves, to be willing to do more for themselves. I could show you a picture. I have my flash drive with me today, sitting in a group. We've evolved to where we sit in a group in a circle. And you can hear a pin drop because there's so much focus and attentiveness. And as you have looked at some of the topics and mentioned them, they're real.
Right.
They're about real life. They're real to the young men. It's what they're dealing with every day in life. And until you deal with some of the reality of their everyday life, they do not achieve academically to the same level that they're often capable of achieving. Am I making sense to you?
Making perfect sense, because many times these young men and women, especially the men, come to school with a lower sense of self. Their self-esteem is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And if it's not where it needs to be, then that student won't rise to where he needs to be.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you a personal story. This was tough. This was about 1993 maybe. No, I'm sorry. 2003. Okay. 202, 203. At that time, I had about 7 or 10 in the room. I had about 4 or 5 really sharp guys, 4.0, 3.5, 3.9. And I asked, and this is kind of conversations you have to have. Say, guys, how many of you think you're just as smart as your white brothers? They hung their heads. You look puzzled.
They actually hung their
Heads. They look down. Why do you think that is?
Maybe they've been told that all their lives?
To some degree. And that some don't have that level of self-worth. I'm more in the self-worth camp than even the self-esteem camp in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
Some didn't think they were marked for good. Even though they were capable, they didn't feel it about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One saw him about a year ago, finished at UT, 4.0 GPA. One finished at Columbia, Ivy League school. Another, I want to say Baylor. Capable, but blockage. Now we could talk about why.
Right.
But it's about helping them move forward with their life and understanding there's some blockage in our systems, in life, period.
Well, obviously, the Brotherhood program that they were a part of, the mentorship program, removed some of those roadblocks. And you mentioned again, with conversations that some people don't like to have, and really conversations with them with the right people, too.
With the right people. It's not just anybody.
Right.
It's not a curriculum. You don't write this down and say, well, you go ahead and have this conversation with this guy. No. They'll sniff you out in a heartbeat. If you're not real, true, authentic, they will sniff you out in a heartbeat. And they will shut down, which is what they do in many classrooms. They shut down or they act up. So yes, the conversations must be had in the right way. And I have a unique skill set. This is the fruit of my life. This is who I am. This mentoring is not something I do. This is who I am. This is one of the major themes of my personal life. Mentoring.
So what, 40 years in education?
40 plus, started in 1972.
Yeah. And yet you've made a lot of mark on the kids. You were a coach.
Yes, I was.
And so you've affected a lot of kids' lives along the way, but not until 2001 did you finally realize your real passion, I guess.
My real calling. And you know, all coaching the ball and all that, that wasn't what it was about. And I was doing a lot of that coaching the basketball, but it was always about the life coaching, the mentoring. That's what was pursuing me. I was hard-headed, though. I wasn't getting there. Right. I was doing it to some degree, but not like now. I'm coaching life. It's a far greater game than basketball.
Right.
I'm coaching the greatest participants in the world, people.
Well, let's talk about why you're at J.H. Hines, and I want to let the people at home know that here at this school this year, we're going to try something a little bit different, and we're going to have some all-male classrooms. And predominantly this school is African American, and so for the most part, those classes of 15 in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will have African American boys who are somewhat at risk. Like you mentioned, and may have some of those roadblocks.
No, they do.
Yeah, and you're here to share some of your experiences with the teachers during this professional development week about the things that they can do in the classroom to help those children succeed. Talk about some of the things you're going to try to get across to them today. Obviously, a lot of the things we're talking about right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will engage the teachers in conversation. I don't believe in just coming in and acting like this heavy expert. We're going to sit around. I want to hear what they have to say. What do they think is unique to this school? And then I know I'll get to this, the soul of a teacher. Because that's crucial. Teaching, mentoring, whatever, simply means it's not about all the techniques and the curriculum and the strategies and the formulas that teachers love. It's about who you are as a human being, as a teacher. The acceptance, the love that you offer and radiate to the student. the willingness to look beyond what that student is saying and doing into who that student is as a human being, as a person. Not talking about excusing or justifying behavior. No, no, never. Looking inside and understanding that you have to touch the heart, mind, soul, and spirit of a person, of a student, sometime to capture their mind and intellect.
You know, speaking with you right now reminds me of a lot of the late Dr. Rita Pearson.
I didn't know, but I've heard great things about her.
Right, great things, because we would have the same conversations, and to her, it was all about relationships.
Bingo.
In fact, you know, she appeared on TED Talks and talked about how important it was for the teacher to have that relationship with the student, because chances are the student's not going to learn from you if they don't like you, and they have to like and respect you first.
Right, wrong, and different. It's real.
Doesn't necessarily mean that the teacher's their pal and the buddy and the best friend,
no.
but a teacher understands and knows them in despite being one of their, in addition to being a member of their classroom, knows what's happening maybe at their home, knows what's happening in their neighborhoods, knows them through and through.
Yes, they know the teacher, the good teacher, the master teacher knows what's going on in that student's life. That's crucial. And I'll go even further. Oh, I share this with teachers a lot and administrators. Students, we have to remember, students allow us to influence them. Choice is there. And in today's world, they can shut down in a heartbeat. They lose, the students. I have to tell the students that. You're going to lose when you do that. But I understand why they do what they do. They shut down. It's the student's choice to allow, in today's world. I wish I could have met Dr. Pearson, because it is. It's all about relationships. The level of the soul of a teacher, it's all about, number one, command presence. Are you believable as a teacher? And students size you up in a heartbeat. This guy is real, or he's not. He really knows, or she really knows what they're talking about, okay? Then it's connections. That's people in relationships. It's all about people and relationships. Can you connect? Can you connect? Can you get inside? Can you get inside of another human being?
Right.
It's a journey of a lifetime. It's worth taking, though, if you're going to be a master teacher. The types of students that are here, and in many schools, if you can't get inside that student, you're probably not going to reach him.
Wow.
You're probably not going to reach that student. And so teaching is different today. You got to be a lot of things. But most importantly, you got to be a connector. You got to understand it's all about people and relationships. I'm going to commit sacrilege here. Curriculum is secondary to relationships. But at my age, I can do that and get away with it.
I want to remind the folks we're talking to Rodney Page from the Round Rock ISD, or formerly from the Round Rock ISD, retired now?
Yeah, but I still do some consulting, part-time consulting at McNeil High School, yeah.
And we're talking about student relationships here. And before we let you go, Mr. Page, I want to let the people know you a little bit prior to when you were at Round Rock ISD. Talk about your career, because you were also at the University of Texas.
Long time ago. I started my career at the University of Texas as a teacher in 1972. I stepped on that campus 24, 25 years old, forget the year, a long time ago. From 73 to 76, I was a women's basketball coach before Jody Conrad. I also worked with men's programs, recruiting and advising athletes. Leon Black in basketball, a great man. Darryl Roy, with many of his players, the basketball players. Abe Lemons, recruiting for the university, going out trying to get more students of color to the university. So I've done a lot of things. First 7 years of teaching was at the University of Texas. Then I taught 7 years of elementary school, Barrington Elementary and AISD. Then I taught about 5 years of middle school, O. Henry Middle School. And then my last 12 of full-time teaching was at McNeil High School in the Round Rock Independent School District. I've been a consultant there the last 6 years or so. After I was retired, I was brought back by Dr. Nelson Cote as a consultant. In essence, I'm a mentor coach for students, educators, parents, and families. I've covered the waterfront in terms of teaching, and I humbly submit to you, and I say this with great humility, I've worked with thousands at every level, thousands. I have learned so much from the students and the people I've worked with. Right now, I work with as many adults as I do students at McNeil and in the community.
And your pride and joy, the Brotherhood Mentorship Group?
Brotherhood Mentoring Group. Yeah, I have a life court mentoring group. You know, it's a lot of different things.
And I will add that Mr. Page did not seek out this interview.
No.
We sought it. You're not very much of a self-publicizer.
No, this work is too deep for a lot of advertising. You know, people get the wrong idea. It's really not about me. This is a work that comes through me. This is the fruit of my life. This is 65 years, well, in 3 weeks, of preparation.
Right.
Personal and professional.
Great. Rodney Page, thank you so much for being here
My
today.
pleasure. Thank
and
you.
thank you for working with the teachers here at
Well, you're
J.H.
welcome.
Hines.
Yeah, thank you for your courage, Waco Independent School District. Thank you for your courage. The status quo is not working in education. We need to think outside the box. What's going on at Hines Elementary is outside the box. But trust me, that's where the real answers are.
Great. Mr. Rodney Page, he is the founder and the creator of the Brotherhood Mentoring Group. My name is Dale Caffey. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Know Your Schools.